Welcome to a video series that I hope is both helpful, useful, and continuing, because it's really the first video of the series that I'm doing. It's called Your Photo, Our Look. I'm not going to explain too much here. Wrote it in a blog post on on1photos.com. So wherever you're watching this, click on the link that's somewhere around it if you want to read more about it. But I really want to get into it because I want to make it a quick video, 10, 12 minutes, and I want to get through 2-3 photos in this so I can show you a lot of different stuff. The idea really is people submit photos. I've noticed, On1's tagline has been "Your photos, your look" for the apps side of things. Your photo, your look, and that's really what it encapsulates to me. Everybody's got a style and a look that they want to achieve, kind of a personalized, almost crafted type of a look, and so, we noticed a lot of people like workflow, and then a lot of times I noticed people would look at a way that I processed the photo and they didn't see it going there. So then I would maybe take one of their photos and process it for them, and they didn't see some of those things. So thought this would be a really neat way to just be creative, whether you're a purist or not and you feel like you have to develop your own stuff. Hopefully you can just get some ideas from it. So let's jump right in. Again, people submitted these. I'm not putting names on them. I'll just kind of go through, give you my thought process. Everything's going to start in Lightroom, so we'll come over here. I'll probably tone that down a little bit on exposure. By the way, everything will start in Lightroom. I'll use On1 where I feel I want to finish the photo off with a look. If it can just be Lightroom, it will. If I need Photoshop, I'll use it. But I battled with what programs to use. At the end of the day, all I can show you is this is how I would do it. Okay, and I'll try to call out some different ways, but really I want this more to be about creativity than necessarily a specific app or even training. So what we'll do here, whites and blacks, I hold down the Option or Alt key, drag that slider. Again, go to blacks, hold down Option or Alt, drag it to the left. That gives me a good white and black point, a little bit more contrast to the photo. Highlights, it's got a lot of glare to it, so I'll probably tone down the highlights a little bit just to take some of that glare off of it. Not too much more I would do here in Lightroom other than maybe a vignette, just throw a real light vignette onto it. But really, I've got a plan for this photo. So when I look at it, I'll hit the backslash key. You can see, that's before, that's after. But I've got a plan for it because I really, I see, if you wanted to, you could stop now. This would be the purist. But I'm going to go to File, Plugin, Extras, which is, by the way, most of the ways that I go in there. Because if I go straight to Layers, I can then jump into all the other On1 apps that way. But I kind of see more of almost an enchanted, mystical kind of a view for this. So that's the way I'm going to go. I am going to go into Layers and use the Perfect Eraser just to get rid of a couple of those little stray branches that you see here. You could use, it's a lot like Content Aware inside of Photoshop. So Lightroom wouldn't work great at this because Lightroom needs something in the photo to sample from. But if you went to Photoshop or in Perfect Layers, you can use that eraser or Content Aware in Photoshop. And those will do really good. But I'm not going to get rid of everyone, just a couple of those little stray areas, and you get the idea. Just to clean things up. Then we'll jump into Effects. And I'm going to go straight to where I see this going. One, I'd go to Dynamic Contrast, add some contrast here. I just choose Natural and then just pull the layer opacity back by about half. And that'll add some contrast in. I'm going to add another layer, and this to me is where I saw it. I go under Glow, and I just scroll down. I see a dark, enchanted glowiness to this. So Radiance Glow is an option. Okay, that looks pretty cool, but I'm gonna go stylistic on this. I'm gonna go to Dark Glow. I think it's definitely overkill too much, but I love what it does to the edges of the light here. To me, it draws attention to the light in the photo, and that's really where the attention is in this photo. To me, that's what I see. All those edges of the trees and a lot of that glowy type of areas. I'm gonna protect it from the shadows, so that it opens those up. Maybe not so much, maybe about split the difference there. So I do want to see some of that shadow detail. And then really I'm just going to come over here and pull back the amount a little bit and pull back the halo a little bit, just so we don't get too much of a glowy type of a feel to it. But I'm going to hit the backslash key, just like Lightroom. That's before, that's after. To me, this is kind of the feeling that I got when I looked at the photo. Okay, you could go purist, you could stop when we were done inside of Lightroom. That would be fine. Maybe a little heavier vignette just to draw attention in the middle. But to me, that's kind of what I saw. And if I were to finish it up, I'd add one more layer, maybe go under the adjustment brushes here, go to warmer, and just take a really large brush and just maybe paint right in that center a little bit. Warm up, almost kind of make it like a little tunnel, even increase the brightness just a hair. Just like an area that, this is the direction you want to go down, and you could even paint down the path if you wanted to and kind of draw people in there. All right, when I'm done, I'll hit apply, and this will bring us back into layers where I can just save the photo. Just like jumping over into Photoshop, it'll save a copy of the image and bring us right back into Lightroom. Okay, and also what I'm going to do here, I'm going to hit reset because I want to reset this back to the original, and then we can compare. Okay, so what I got here is that's the original, and this is our final image. Okay, original, final image. Cool. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Portrait. So this one, I had a lot of fun with this one. I'm going to take the white balance eyedropper. I think it's got a very blue look to it. If I click on her shirt, which is whitish grayish, you'll see the blue percentage is cranked up there. That means it is too blue. So we need to warm it up, and that'll take care of it. And I might just eyeball it and pull it back a little bit. I don't want it too yellow. Let's see here. Exposure, I think we're pretty good. As I look at the photo, we're going to have trouble with exposure because there's some dappled light. You can see it on his arms. You can see it on his face. So we would have wanted a little bit more evenness when lighting it, but we can work with it. Vibrance, maybe crank up. Just add a little bit more color here. Shadows, highlights, I honestly think we're good. I'll do the option, or I'll click on whites, make sure I got a white point. Option, I'll click on blacks, make sure I got a black point. And rather than add a vignette, which is going to darken her head because it's going to go into the center, I'll go to the radial filter here. I'll bring the exposure down. Just going to drag a circle, and then what we can do here is we can reshape it to more of an oval. And I can reshape it to an oval and then kind of tilt it and get this exactly where I want, right over them. Okay. See that? So now I'm able to darken everything but their faces, which is exactly what I want. I'll go to my adjustment brush here, increase the exposure a little bit, and just paint just a little bit there. Just to try to brighten up, not too much. Brighten up the faces a little bit. So if I hit the backslash key, that's going to show us our before inside of Lightroom. Backslash key, that's our after. So that's looking pretty good. Now we're going to do, again, the style. So let's go to, I'm going to start off in layers because I'm going to do a little bit of portrait editing to this one. Not a whole lot, just a little tiny bit. I actually think everything's looking pretty good here. But let's jump into portrait. I don't have any distractions to remove, or I could do that here. We'll jump into portrait. And it's going to go and detect the faces for us. All I want to do is maybe just brighten the eyes a hair. The teeth are actually looking pretty good, but let's click on her face here. It's actually done a good job of finding the features, so we don't need to worry too much about that. Just extend those out just a little bit, and on the eye just a little bit right there. Mouth actually looks really good, and I'm just going to go down here, open up, whiten the eyes just a hair, a little tiny bit more detail, not too much. We don't want it to look fake. If I go up to the shine, notice she's got a little bit of shine there, so I can just pull that. I'm going to crank it up just so you see, but I don't want to go that high. Just a little bit to pull that shine back. Go back to faces view. I think she's looking good. The only thing I'm going to do to him, and this is common, especially in outdoor portraits. Ooh, let's pull that back. There we go. But the detection's actually working really good here. I'm just going to go to the retouch brush, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to reduce the opacity to about 50%. All I'm going to do is just kind of try to just lessen some of those dark areas under his eyes. That's all I want to do there. Okay. Now I'm done. I'm going to jump into effects. This one, you got two different ways you could go with it. Again, I mentioned it before. We could go, you could go total purist on it. All right, total purist, and just almost leave it as is. If I wanted to, I could go down here to some of the photo filters. There's a warming photo filter that looks nice. You could go down here. Warm polarizer looks nice. But I'm going to go under presets. So, you can leave it. We could be done. I might lessen the opacity of it a little bit, but I think, we could be done if we're going purist on it. I am going to go under here. There's some pretty cool looks over here. If you go under hipster, you've got a lot of different styles. The Brandon style. They all got names, right? Dirty Bird, which is pretty funny, but it actually looks cool. Another one that I like is Soho. All right, I like Soho a lot. It's got a texture layer on it. You could always reduce that texture that it's got on there, but I think that's a cool one. But I'm going to go really, to me, my favorite one for this was under the matte section, and it's Faded Matte. And it just gave it a really nice style to it. I really like that style. So I'd probably, if I wanted to go with a stylized look to it, and I think they would love it, I'm just going to go ahead, we'll hit apply, we'll go with that one. Again, you saw the purest look if we wanted to. We almost could have really stopped right from Lightroom if that's what we were going with. But to me, that's why you jump into a lot of the plugins that we have these days. So let's close that, and we will jump back over into Lightroom, and we'll take a look here. I'm going to hit reset, all right, and then take a look. So that's our before, that's our after. Before, after. So pretty cool. I like that one. I might even bring up the exposure a little bit. Maybe the white's just a hair, not too much. I don't want to make it too bright. In fact, I take that back. I'd leave it right where it is. Okay, let's do one more. This is a quick one. You got a photo like this. Go into Lightroom here, and I grab my my straighten tool and just kind of drag along there. By the way, if you're using Lightroom 6, you can click Auto, and it'll usually do could not straighten this photo automatically. Well, never mind. I was going to say it usually does a good job, but I guess there's not much of a horizon there, so we just want to straighten that. Cropping wise, I know where this person was going. You get the scale. You get that person in there, and you get the scale. To me, it's not. They're almost so small that I don't get the scale from this. It's like if you printed this out, you'd barely see them. So you could always consider just retouching them out with your cloning and healing tool. You could do that. Again, I'm not going to assume. I'm assuming they put that person in there for a reason. You could also, if you wanted to, you could change the whole feel of the photo and crop it in. But to me, the tree is part of what makes it. So I like that. So we're gonna leave the cropping as is. Again, we do our whites, Option or Alt click. I'm not gonna go crazy because I don't want it to get too bright. And then blacks. Bring that back a little bit. Okay, so that's gonna add a nice amount of contrast to the photo. If we wanted to finish here in Lightroom, we just wanted to work with the color we had, I'd warm it up a little bit, give it a little, because it's so muted in color. And then what we can do is, if I crank up the saturation, it gets kind of radioactive, or crank up the vibrance. But if I reduced some of the saturation, it does pull some of that radioactiveness back. So it boosts the color. We get some more greens in the water. We get some more yellows here. Get some color in the sky. But it does take the radioactiveness out. If I hit the backslash key, that's before. That's after. We could be done here. I'd probably finish it off with a vignette. Just like that. All right. But if you want to take it to the stylistic effect, I'm just going to jump into effects here because I know that effects is the only thing I'm going to use. To me, it's got such muted color that I'm just going to work with it. All right. I'm going to actually just enhance the dramatic feel of the photo. I'm going to do it with one very, very simple filter. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but I'm going to go into some of the presets here. If you look under cinematic, there's some pretty cool presets. Lord of the Rings. You got some movies inside of there. So that's an interesting one. Blue Dawn is an interesting preset for this, where it is going to kind of work with a lot of those muted colors, and it almost gives it a sepia tone type of a look. So I kind of like that one. Another one would be, we can come under here under our filters, and I could go down here to our cross process filters. That's another one. Urban, fashion, passion. You gotta love some of the names there. Color enhancer is another one that we could go into, but we'll go down here and I'll just show you a couple other options under photo filter. So you got all your warming. Okay, warm polarizer would be an interesting one to play on that. But there's another one, I kind of forget where it is. Omaha Beach. There it is. So we're going to click on that one. It's really going to mute the colors. It's also going to add a color tint, of which I'm going to remove or just reduce significantly down here. And maybe up the brightness a little bit. So that brings out a lot of detail. Again, it's a total different way. I'm kind of more just going for the dramatic. I'm going for the texture. I'm going for all that because there's not much color to the photo to begin with for us to really try to salvage here. All right, when you're done, hit apply. Of course, that is going to drop and take you right back over into Lightroom here. As I'm back here, I'm just going to hit reset. So let's just reset our original one. By the way, thank you for sending a RAW file. Everybody else sent JPEGs, which some of them were processed, some of them were not. So I'm going to reset the photo. And now let's see. That's before. That's after. Again, just an option to go with. I showed you the Lightroom way. Not a lot of light to work with in this photo. So when that happens, sometimes I just tend to go with some of the dramatic parts of the photo, which is the texture and which is the clouds in the sky. All right, so 3 things as we finish up here. Number 1, thank you. Number 2, if you want to participate, just leave a link wherever you're watching. Trust me, I check everywhere. Dropbox.com. You can create an account for free. You can send a RAW file. I would love it if you sent a RAW file and not a JPEG because I can really work with the photo that way. But if you do send a JPEG, please don't process it. So many people sent processed photos and sometimes over-processed photos. So it's hard to do a before and after from a photo that's already processed. The idea is to give me the RAW file or at least an unprocessed image. Number 3, send me your best stuff. Okay, send me your best work, and that's the whole idea. Is take our really good images and see how we can process and make them better. So don't send me a photo where you're like, I don't know, I can't do anything with this. I don't really like it, and let's see if he can save it. It's not really about saving the photo. It's more about taking our really best work and processing it from start to finish and seeing that whole process unfold. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you again really soon.